We interview the world's leading apologists to provide credible answers to curious questions. Diana, does Christianity oppress women? And if so, why in the world would you, as a female, be a Christian apologist defending Christianity?
Well, I wouldn't be defending Christianity if it was oppressive to women, is the first thing. But I think that the culture, very generally speaking, assumes that it is oppressive to women. In answer to that question, I would just ask for examples from Christian doctrine, from the New Testament, where we can see that it's permissible for women to be oppressed. I would ask for examples from the life of Christ, or even the words of Christ, that would lead us to conclude that Christianity is oppressive. But if those two questions can't be answered, well, then Christianity isn't oppressive, and maybe we have to admit that Christians throughout time have been oppressive to women. Those are two separate questions, though, whether Christians oppress or whether Christianity oppresses women. For instance, we can look at the New Testament and we can see the vitality and the necessity that women had, the role that they played in the church. We can look at the empty tomb. It was women who were there at the tomb first and went and brought the news to the disciples. Women were very integral to the ministry of Paul and even to the ministry of Jesus. So I don't see anywhere in the New Testament where Christianity is oppressive to women.
I invite every person, I invite every woman here, every non-Muslim woman here, to stand to the side when we leave here and talk to a Muslim lady. I mean, now, let's not ask Barbara Walters about how Muslim women feel. You know, let's not ask Tom Brokaw how Muslim women feel. Let's not ask CNN, ABC, Fox. Let's not ask the London Times or the Australian Times. Let's not ask non-Muslims about how Muslim women feel, how they live, what are their principles, what are their challenges. If you want to be fair, ask a Muslim woman. Ask my wife. Ask my mother. You see, ask a Muslim woman that knows her religion, who has a relationship with her Creator, who is stable in her society, understanding her responsibilities, her relationships. Ask her. And after that, I think you should be fair, that you don't need to ask someone else. But the problem is, no one really wants to ask Muslim women. We want to take pictures of women in Afghanistan, and pictures of women in Palestine, and pictures of women in Pakistan, and pictures of women over here. And we want to listen to what people say about female circumcision, as if Muslims got women, 1,000, 10, 30,000, 40,000 Muslim women all over the world is being circumcised. Some crazy Steven Spielberg stuff. And let me give you a statistic that you should know about. If you take a quota in this room right here, I'll tell you this. Most every Muslim woman in this room will be a college graduate, or is a college graduate, or is very intelligent and very much socially endowed. And within her family structure, we find that women control the wealth more so than men. Now, what does that say to you? Now, where you find women oppressed, women exploited, women mistreated among Muslims, that is because those Muslims themselves are not representing the principles of the religion. And in every religion, you've got black sheep. But then again, you can't tell me that the 148,000 prostitutes that walk the streets in the UK, or the 76,000 prostitutes that walk the streets of Holland that have licenses to do so. You can't tell me that all these little young, naked little girls walking around Australia with no clothes on, you can't tell me that they represent liberation. You can't tell me that the 2,350 abortions, murders that take place with these young women, you can't tell me that that represents sophistication. You can't tell me that that represents liberation. You can't tell me that a naked woman sitting on a chocolate bar, a naked woman selling everything, toothpaste, everything, you can't tell me that doesn't represent exploitation. So let's put things in context. Let's talk about things correctly, and let's be fair, and let's be objective. We can talk about that a little bit more if you want to. And let me give you one more statistic. One more. Prostitution, venereal disease, abortion, and pedophilia. And this horrendous number of children being raped and kidnapped that exists in the Western world, it is almost unheard of in the Muslim world. So I think that the statistics kind of like speak for themselves.
You know here, continent, the end, the end. Only child.
You see this problem with women, where men have the originating point of that is this Adam and Eve story. Yeah, the Adam and Eve story for 4,000 years, maybe 6 too, has perverted the minds of men in relationship to how them deal with women. That story, that Adam and Eve story, started the whole problem. Yes, believe it or not, that Adam and Eve story is a serious indictment against men. And the problem is compacted 4,000 years after with a next story about a woman named Mary who was a virgin. Them two stories there create a lot of problem in the minds of men as it relates to historically how woman is treated, and really and truly it is perpetuated in all different societies, especially in Western world, where the genesis of the creator is seen as a male figure. Imagine that. We live in a society where the male figure in your mind is a creator, is a he. And when you ask people, is God a man? Them say, no, him is not a man. There lies the contradiction. Him is not a man. Him is spirit. So spirit become genderized as it relates to the creator. So when man talk about the creator, him reflecting him consciousness as he created, and he this and he that, without realizing that the creating force is from the feminine energy. It have to be. The creative force is from the feminine energy. And if you exempt that out of your holistic approach to consciousness and to divinity, then you know, so we last. Only he and no she. Terrible, 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 terrible. This is the cutting edge on RFM.
I see 1,000 bullets rushing through your head. I wish you dead. I wish you dead. I hope they find you stiff, smelling stink with flies all over you, worms eating your flesh within the same bed. I wish you dead. I wish you dead. For my innocence and youth you took beneath this bread. I wish you dead. Papa, I wish you dead. For every pain you caused and every tears that I've shed. I wish you dead. Papa, I wish you dead. I see me balling you in a pot of molten lead. I wish you dead. Papa, I wish you dead. Slicing your dick like bread, knotting your tongue like thread, painting you with my hate, bloody, bloody red. I wish you dead. Papa, I wish you dead. You're so cruel, it make me sick. How could you have placed me, a little girl, to sit, and you harden yourself with pleasure as if you liked? No, you loved it. Promising candies, giving dick, staining my undies red from cherry, forcefully bloody pick. You said, come to massage, tongue to lick. Open your mouth, child, if you don't want your neck to be crick. Do you remember? I can't forget until I see 1,000 bullets rushing through your head. I wish you dead. I wish you dead. I hope they find you stiff, smelling stink with flies all over you, worms eating your flesh within the same bed. I wish you dead. I wish you dead. Death was all you gave, digging me night in and out like a grave. Oh, I was your sex slave, even for my ass you crave. How could you, Dave? What? I refuse to call you dad, you perverted fag. You must be mad. I hope they find you dead, stiff with flies all over you, and lose your body in the morgue without a tag. Cause if it was up to I, no one would identify themselves with you. You sick bastard. How could you? I see me slicing your dick like bread. I wish you dead. Papa, I wish you dead. Knotting your tongue like thread, painting you with my hate, bloody, bloody red. I wish you dead. Papa, I wish you dead. You tiptoed in my room night after night, tearing down my fragile womb, fright after fright, and you liked, right? You liked. So daddy, why you here now that I'm grown up, acting all so concerned? Prepare your soul, cause soon it will be your turn. You shall be cast into hell, gang, and raped by Lucifer and friends, and then be burnt. But case still will not be adjourned until I see 1,000 bullets rushing through your head. I wish you dead. I wish you dead. I hope they find you stiff with flies all over you, smelling stink, worms eating your flesh within the same bed. I wish you dead. Papa, I wish you dead. For my innocence and youth you took beneath this bread. I wish you dead. Daddy, I wish you dead. For the pain you caused and every tears that I've shed. I wish you dead. Papa, I wish you dead. I see me balling you in a pot of molten lead. I wish you dead. Daddy, I wish you dead. Slicing your dick like bread, knotting your tongue like thread, painting you with my hate, bloody, bloody red. I want you dead.
Yeah, this is the Cutting Edge on RFM. That poor My Wish You Dead by Italy. Me I tell you, say, if me was a child molest out, them would have started get fret. Would have fret. Would have started get afraid to be here. It's better than the night, yeah. Believe you me, yes, Italy. You know, we are talking about women and how the system create animosity against women. And it comes from a religious perspective. And you know, the religious perspective dig deep into the soul of people, you know, more than politics. Politics and religion dangerous, but religion seem to be a a man will give up in political belief quicker than him give up in religious belief. And most of we in this part of the world conform to Western Christianity. And Western Christianity help to put you in the position where they are right now. But when you have people actually believe, say, there was a woman who was talking to a snake, and after talking to the snake and eating what she eat, she get cursed and then say, in childbearing she shall feel pain, and the serpent shall bruise her heel. In childbearing she shall bear pain. And actually, you have people actually believe, say, the reason why women feel pain in a childbearing is because of the curse that was placed upon the woman by God. It's a strange story. And people take it literal. So that complex, that inferiority complex, where the woman yields to the serpent, is developed over thousands of years. And it finds itself in most religion. Thousands of years that complex develop, where woman is seen as more liable to sin, more susceptible to sin than men. Which in truth and in fact, is the man, the order was given to the man. The order was given to the man. But then, when we go down the line now, we see a story come where it almost wipe out the natural way of birth, where human beings, especially female, have children all the way upon the earth, come through this sexual intercourse. And this story now supposed to be exonerating women, but it put them in a bile where most of us was born in sin and shape in iniquity. The world is sinful, and it have whole heap of iniquity a go on. So we was born in the world. Everyone was born in the world. But just the idea, if you say, here is a woman who is married, and a man come to her late at night, and I will say it's a man because it's an angel, and he give him a name, and say to the man, look here, don't feel no way, your wife pregnant, but guess what? It's the Holy Ghost come upon her and get her pregnant. Now that story is a story where whole heap of people believe and accept as a normal, legitimate story in order to bring about a next man who is supposed to go and save the world. And this woman, at about 15 years old, was supposed to now legitimately have a child. And the father supposed to accept that illegitimate child as him own. In our language, it would be a bastard picnic. So this bastard picnic now come out of a womb, not because of sexual intercourse, but because of some story about a Holy Spirit descend upon the woman, and she brought forth a child. Yet still, we who was born of sexual intercourse is expected to live like that child. How can we live like that child when that child never have the taint of sex, according to the story? Normal people born through sexual intercourse. This individual never born through sexual intercourse, but we know who was born through this process now is supposed to live like this man. I can't live like him because him don't have the taint that I have. Maybe if I was born of a virgin, I would truly say, I am he. And maybe a whole heap away if we did born of a virgin, would truly say, I am he. But it's only one person is given that status. So we now are mere mortals born through the normal process that most creatures born like on earth. So we develop a story around this man and leave out the woman. So the Roman Catholics come now and them say, Holy Mary, Mother of God. And people get scared now. Them say, God have mother. Well, according to the story, if Christians accept the Son as God in the flesh, and Mary brought him forth, then Mary is the mother of God. And that story lends itself to a next story that was in Kemet thousands of years before by a woman that them call Isis. And for those of you who listen to this program regularly will know that we talk about Isis continuously. But if you don't know, you can go and Google Isis, Horus, and Osiris in the Kemetic or Egyptian mythological stories that bind Egypt for thousands of years. And now this story come 4,000 years after. For sure you know that woman is still in a predicament. Yes, that is better sure because why woman is still in a predicament? Because most women upon the earth have sex to bring forth a child. And if you have sex to bring forth a child, something is intrinsically wrong with your divinity. And how can you find that divinity? And how can your children find that divinity? When the child that was not born of sex is such a high level to the point where he has become a God, our God himself in the flesh. So, I don't know if that makes sense, but I check it out continuously and I say, there must be some feminine energy that is moving, that we miss out on. And maybe this is the day when we should have examined it, even though the day was first fashioned by some Europeans in America in the near the early 1900s by some women who maybe never ever believed in another God. Socialist women from them time there. Maybe them never ever believe in another God, but them just look as feminists. A day where them can say, this is Women's Day. Maybe women in this part of the world, especially in a Jamaica church, that take time and find out and figure out how is it that they have been down so long with a story that has been perpetuated by the religion that they hold fast to, where woman is seen not as how we would see Isis or how the Roman Catholics would see Mary being the mother of God. Because you say Mary is the mother of God, people say God don't have no mother. You can't tell the Muslim them about Jesus is the Son of God. Them say Jesus is just another prophet. And the Hebrews you can tell them about Mary is the mother of God. serious thing that you would have get beheaded for say that. But we in the Western world who follow this Judeo-Christianity has been perplexed by these mythological stories that we have now have made into reality, when it's really some fantasy story that's supposed to be trying to direct you to a certain thinking. But because of the literalism of the story that has been preached in many churches, it is very difficult to find out what the authors of these stories was trying to say to the people who would read it eventually. What was it all about? What were they trying to push? We're going to come back to it. We're going to come back to it because, as we say, this is what we call Women's Day, International Women's Day. And we want to express the idea. Remember last week we tell you, say, we start a new thing where Pat Clark present Jamaica roots and culture. We don't want to continue it. We want to continue that Jamaica roots and culture today, Women's Day. So, Pat Clark, roots and culture, Jamaica roots and culture. Here goes.
Welcome to Jamaican Roots and Culture. Hey, and this week in Jamaican Roots and Culture, we'll explore the role of women in the fight against slavery.
With a woman's love, a man can move mountains.
The role that women played in the emancipation movement in Jamaica is a story largely untold. Did you know that it was a woman who threw the first stone at the enslavers during the Morant Bay Rebellion? Why did women like Nanny and millions of other Akan and Igbo women captured from parts of West Africa, such as the Gold Coast, put their lives online in the struggle for freedom? The obvious reason is that slavery was one of the greatest crimes against humanity. Enslaved women were subjected to various forms of exploitation. They were exploited physically, emotionally, and mentally. These forms of exploitation caused them to launch a desperate struggle for liberation. As field laborers, plantation owners placed great physical strain on enslaved women, and drivers and overseers subjected their bodies to severe beatings. Enslaved women were open to sexual exploitation to a far greater degree than enslaved men. No laws prevented male enslavers from claiming violent access to enslaved women's bodies, so white men not only raped them, but along with their female enslavers, sold their bodies for organized prostitution. Thomas Thistlewood from Lincolnshire, who owned and managed properties in western Jamaica, provides the best example so far of a slave-owning rapist. We know about him because he left detailed journals, over 10,000 pages, that revealed that he sexually abused practically every enslaved female located Breadnut Island Pen and Egypt sugar plantations during the years 1751 to 1786. Betty, Chrissy, Hago, Juba, Marina, Fiba, his concubine for 33 years, and Sylvia were among those he raped. Indeed, exploitation in the fields and factories and sexploitation in enslavers' households provided the context for women's emancipation struggles. Running away was a common form of removing the body from the site of the oppression, and the records are full of examples of maroon women. Nanny, of course, is best known to Jamaicans, but there were others. Abigail and Mary, Congo Sally were a few who would not be confined to Thistlewood's property despite severe punishment. Sally, in whom Thistlewood had a sexual interest, was a strong survivalist character who ran away constantly despite the consequences. As a result of the fact that their bodies were targets in the enslavers' efforts to control them, enslaved women used their bodies in addition to their voices and minds in the Emancipation Project. They did so despite the physical consequences of such actions. Enslaved women raised their voices in liberation songs and used their voices to curse those who brought them to a slave auction or oppressed them generally. In her book entitled Harmony, author Mary Gaunt gave an account of the experience of Maria, who was wrongfully enslaved and shipped to Jamaica and brought to a St. Anne enslaver. She resisted both the Middle Passage and her sale. Gaunt wrote of the way in which Maria used her voice and body language to abuse her purchaser and his colleague, and registered her views about the injustices of her capture, shipment, and auction. Enslaved women petitioned attorneys to get unpopular or particularly harsh overseers dismissed, and they also went on strike in order to force compliance with their wishes. Strikes were also resorted to when customary allowances such as time to work provision grounds and to go to the markets were reduced or withheld. Women practiced gynecological resistance, especially after 1807 when the slave trade was abolished. Armed with the knowledge that no new captives could be imported and that only they could prolong slavery by bearing future workers, enslaved women sought to free their enchained wombs, using every herb at their disposal to abort pregnancies that, despite their best efforts, occurred. Enslaved women in Jamaica played active roles in armed rebellions. Many of them were involved in the conspiracies and violent outbreaks. Mary Ann Reed is the most important female figure implicated in the 1824 slave conspiracy located in Hanover. The mere fact that Jamaica has a national heroine, Nanny of the Maroons, is a powerful indication that Jamaican women are strong and will do whatever it takes to gain and maintain the human rights and civil liberties that they deserve. And now, to end Jamaican roots and culture, here is a wise quotation from the Black diaspora. The cost of liberty is less than the price of repression. W.E.B. Du Bois. For Jamaican Roots and Culture, I'm Pat Clark.
This is Young Love Ensign, author of Acts of Faith, and you are listening to Mutabaruka.
Yeah, very revealing aspect of Jamaica. Very revealing. That part about aborting children because you don't want the children them grow up in slavery and perpetuate it. It's really some serious struggle that women could have do that. It's a serious struggle that to liberate the unborn from hell. Liberate the unborn from hell. Very revealing. Yes, give thanks, Pat Clark. And as we say, we're going to present such thing, Jamaica Roots and Culture, on cutting edge. We started on stepping razor, but we decided we're going to put it over to the cutting edge. Okay. Inspired by the dungeons of the west coast of Africa. Music called Slave Dream by a sister from Yemen named Ofra Azza. The late Ofra Azza. When you hear them sound there, I mean, you can't hear it by the music still, but if you sit down in one of them dungeons there, it's almost like you hear it. I guess that is where she hear and come out and make a song as it relates to our experience. We continue the journey because we are saying maybe one of the problems with our thinking, it is so male-oriented, that hunter thinking, that hunter. You know, the male is the hunter. That hunter thinking has not been able to to bring about a certain tenderness in the society, a more compassionate society, because the men, even though they are less in the population, but that hunter figure is what drive it. So when you have the politics, when you have more women going to university than men, more women go to university, yet still the big job them is taken up by men. And most of the job them where is subservient jobs is women. And maybe the unemployment rate amongst women, the possibility is that because there's so much housewives, maybe the population of unemployed is greater amongst women. I don't know, and that's a scientific thing. But within the levels of reaching a certain state of consciousness, we need to examine this male-oriented God thinking, where it's just the male it work around, or the male energy it work around. We seem not to want to say there is an energy that is creator, that is in God. And I don't want to say goddess, because goddess imply that you have a male God and a female God, which is goddess. I want to call the female energy God too. Yeah, I want to say God too. And just for the want of a word, that's the people them who is listening to me can get a full understanding of where we are trying to say. That if you say goddess imply that it's like when a man say Black Moses, Marcus Garvey is the Black Moses, it implies that you have a white Moses. So if you have a Moses before and Marcus Garvey come after and is a Black Moses, therefore the Moses before, the thinking is that is a white Moses. So if you have a God and then you have a male, which is E, if you start relate to that God as she, you're going to have say goddess to feminize this God. You feminize the God by saying goddess, which really and truly is not man or woman you talk about. It's an energy. It's an energy you talk about. It's like when a man say Christ. Christ is not Jesus' last name. Christ is a anointed one who's anointed. And that anointment come through a certain level of divinity. Where you don't walk around and call people Christ. It's only in the Western world, well, not Western world alone, but in a Christianity concept, you hear people that say, you have a man named Jesus Christ, like him did have a second name as Christ. Christ was never a surname. Never a surname. It become a surname because Christians say this man named Jesus is the only Christ. And that was not so in the Jewish thinking. So we work with it for hundreds of years and realize it not put we nowhere. It not put we nowhere. Because all of the things them that is divine, we masculinize, we put them in the masculine gender. And I have put it to the listener that a lot of our problems stem from this masculine gender attitude that is related to the divine entity. A lot of the problems that we cannot face and confront and can't even find solution for is because of our masculine, well, if I want a better, masculizing the divine gender, genderized divinity. When we say male God, female God, God and goddess, and the goddess still becomes subservient to the male God, when we know that in our history as African people, and if you want to go to Kemet, we talk about Kemet, Isis was never a subservient God. Isis was never a subservient God. Because it is Isis that gave birth to the sun. Isis gave birth to the sun, and the sun become the source of all energy and life form on the earth. It's only the Roman Catholic them kind of have it proper when them say Mary is the mother of God. Because Mary gave birth to the son according to Christian thinking. And in the Kemetic thinking is Isis. I say Isis, I don't. And when I say Isis, you know, people, we don't talk about the mad people them were in Iraq there, we are weird people, you know, we are talking about Isis, that God that gave birth to the son. The first God that was created by man in order to find them divinity. They found it in a feminine gender perspective, and that was wiped out until, you know, there was a ISIS movement in Rome, you know. Yeah, there was an ISIS movement in Rome where women was like becoming like powerful because them take up to themselves this ISIS movement, and it was wiped out in Rome because the woman them was recognizing ISIS. And as a matter of fact, ISIS come up in Kemetic mythology, it come up in a Roman mythology, and come up in a Greek mythology. So ISIS transcend a lot of cultural perspective and cultural manifestation. Until it reached Christianity now, ISIS become Mary. And not madness we are talking about, you know. We don't want to go over the people, you know, but we are trying to explain it as soft as possible. It is when Christianity become what Christianity is now that ISIS become Mary. But the Roman Catholic Church couldn't let go off of the power of ISIS. So them say Mary is the mother of God. And if you have your sins, you have to go through purgatory. Mary have to take it first before it can continue the journey. It's the same concept. The same concept that the people from Kemet, Nubia, did have as it relates to sin, or what would I call death. So we have to look, because we say we can't do the same thing the same way all the while and get a different result, you know. So what we have proposed now, which is very difficult for anyone out there who claim Christianity, check it out, look upon it. What we have proposed is that we go and review our religious concept and perspective that we have held fast to since the boat take way from Africa come across us 400 years ago. We have put forward a theology, and not even a theology, a thinking that maybe can help to alleviate this problem where woman is seen as subservient to men, when is a woman brought the men into the world. Can you believe that? Is woman, every man upon the earth come through a vagina. Yet still, when him come through that vagina and become a man, there's something in the DNA that say the woman is less than him. And if you be true to yourself and really think about it, it'll come from this idea of Adam and Eve. But I tell you, if go up with me, I say, just think about it. Think about it a little. Man rule. You know say it's a man world, but it can't do without a woman. A man relate to the creator of heaven and earth as he, even though him say him not genderize God. Him say he this and he that. He created them and earth. If you look at the Bible, it say he this, he that, no she. So him a place divinity and creative force upon himself. He. Even though him don't say God is not a man. He's a spirit. But even in this, in the spiritual realms of understanding it, him still a relate to he, no she. Yet still the man who is saying this come from a woman. And we know it as Africans that his Isis give birth to the son. And if you look 4,000 years after, it say, is Mary give birth to the son who now become the source of life for earth, where you call now the God man. Yet still Isis did give birth to a son, and them call him Horus. And she never actually have sex to bring that son. I wonder if you didn't know that. This is the cutting edge on RFM. We're there with you. Woman should be a priority. And we live in a society that does not respect the divinity of their creator. No. Them give credence to an unseen thing. An unseen thing that them call God. This unseen thing is supposed to be this physical man creator. And man would prefer to hold up on a pedestal this unseen thing that him create in his mind than a woman who give birth to him. He would prefer to hold up something that him think is out there, yet still the thing or the someone that is right here. No respect. Maybe it's time now we start to look on the woman just as how we look on the unseen God. I want to hear me say, I'm serious too. Maybe it's time we start look on the woman as we perceive God to be. Because all way I say, if it wasn't for woman, you wouldn't be here. So you could have imagined God little more and say, a God make you there. And if God never do this and if God never do that. Woman should be a priority. And when I look on it as how most people in the society that look on it, because we can't stop domestic violence in a system that is so corrupt that it breeds domestic violence. We can't stop it. But what I think we can do is to bring about a new consciousness and roads. We have to take a stock and look on things different. We have to really realize that what was fed to us over the years is not working for us. As a collective group of people, as a race of people, what we have been working with, it may allow some of us to go through, but it's a collective that we have to focus on. When we realize that what was fed to us is only something that is now poisoning our system, and it is taking all of us right now. We have been poisoned. We have been slow poisoned to the point now where that slow poison has become fast, quick. Slow poison way. And the slow poison now work. And we get aggravated and aggressive because we don't know how to solve it. And the only way we learn to solve it is to turn to the thinking and the understanding and the logics and the political ideas and the religious ideas that has been fed to us over the years. And then feed it away, feed it away, feed it away. And we expect, say, that going to solve it. But it's not going to solve it. Mark my word, it's not going to solve it. We have to make a total shift. Total shift. And them used to say, think out of the box. We have to think out of the box. Don't make them box in. We have to think out of the box. This is the cutting edge. Kelisa talking about topsy-turvy, man. Serious music. Let us try to bring another perspective to the whole situation where we are talking about crime and violence, especially amongst against women and children. And our thinking is that it have a deeper thing than just the peripheral arguments about poverty. And, you know, most time people talk about this cinema says poverty cause it. I mean, really and truly, there are more poverty going in Haiti and poverty and crime not so big in Haiti. There's something that is happening. And we just show another perspective, not the perspective where we think say is that I go solve it. But the solution is have so much layers. There are so much layers to solve this thing here. And we just show a next layer. And we are say maybe we should have looked on our religious thinking as it relates to women and how it embedded in a way for centuries by religion. We're sure about he create, he this and he that without giving homage or praise to the womb that bring every man upon earth. Yes, so we must realize how important it is, because unless we give credence to that womb, then everything else will feel like say I'm not with the man them, like man is just the solution to the world's problem. And when we look on the earth, the problems that confront the earth and the world today is the problem is the making of men. Yes. The music until the program finish. All females. Yeah, this is the Cutting Edge on RFM. We want to play this tune here, one of the classic Jamaican songs. This is one of the best songs dedicated to the black woman that has ever been made in reggae music. Where the story lead us to this woman named Mary, and she has now just become a vessel. It's like just a vessel. It's like a teapot. She's a teapot, you know, where they just have the water, I don't throw the water, and that is it. It's not an important part of the whole story being. This is the Cutting Edge on RFM.
Brothers and sisters, this is Chad.
12 o'clock.
Join us with respect for our national anthem. Let us stand and defend this one. Peace and love. Thank you. Eternal Father, bless our land. Guide us with thy mighty hand. Keep us free from evil. Through countless times, to our leaders, great defenders, great true wisdom from above. Justice, truth, be ours forever, Jamaica. Jamaica, 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 land we love.
Muta tell them no sneak up, no sneak up, no sneak up. The whole of the lion them will wake up. Whoa, no sneak up, no sneak up, no sneak up. The whole of the lion them will wake up. You man a Queen Africa and a Mutabaruka in the morning and the evening. Any time of day, Mutabaruka.
Cutting Edge. Same Mutabaruka. Same RFM. Same.
Yes, lie down bar. Same.
And Mr. Robbie. Same.
Stay tuned RFM. Mutabaruka. Cutting Edge.
Same.
Yeah, we are using the airwaves and the Cutting Edge to celebrate the power of women. And as we say, this day was founded by some women in America. Some real socialist woman too. Serious thing. But we is with them with this. We is with them with this. We decide. We decide what we want to decide and what we celebrate. We decide that. We don't make them tell you about no. Celebrate Easter and Christmas and Valentine's Day and Ash Wednesday. No. But we choose what we want to celebrate, like Mother's Day. We celebrate Mother's Day and we celebrate birthday too. Even though a whole heap of one don't celebrate birthday, but we celebrate birthday. So listen to this song, you know. And any other program I did ever done, and I go home, I remember I never played that tune. Trust me, I wouldn't feel good at all, boy. I mean, I tell you. Singing Sandra. Die with my dignity. What a liberating music. I tell you what. Yes.
Yeah, good night.
Good night, blessed.
Yeah, I record a bunch of Ochiman, Iceman. You see me? AK, Akiman. I just call everything that said tribulation in Jamaica no more. I tell you, we need help as ghetto youth. Come here, tell you, say, I get youth and I get you, born and grow Ochi. I have application all about me, I tell you. You see me? And not to help me, I get a call one day from my phone, say, come in for your interview. Me say, me never born, if me never have my grannyland to live off, I don't know what I do. I tell you, rough in Jamaica. If you saw me live in a Bernatilla, I want to hear me see it with the politician thing, because JLP place. For me, see someone in a politician, I have to left go on other community, go say, me a PNP, so come people recognize me. You understand what I say?
Yeah.
Nothing I go on to get to you, right now, go on, nothing I go on, you know, what to do again. You see me?
So, which land you say they pan?
No, I say, if me never have my grannyland and my motherland to live off as I get to you to have
where you say live off fight, where you do? You rent house, pan it?
No, plant you up, man, like plant up and sell things, and you know what I mean? Like sell all our coconut and jelly and shit, you see me?
Yeah.
Yes, so I say, we know in our country, who have the sense now, what do you do them in the inner city when I have nothing, when I have a chief client, then I have nobody to give them nothing, what am I going to do? Me see, so I tell you, say, country, the country turn down, you see me?
Yeah.
You know what we tell you, I know Jamaica alone selling the motor, the whole world, you know.
But I know the whole world, but Jamaica we work with.
We have to turn to Christ, to Jesus Christ, you see me?
Yeah.
And that him alone can help in them time.
So you're not going to start go church then?
No, hear me I say no. You know, if you really go, remember 2 teeth on the cross.
Yeah, so what you say?
We can't just wait for them to
hold on.
think about ourselves and know, say, right, to go baptize.
So you say right now,
the only Christ and go church.
So the right.
You don't have to go church yet, but you can go and read the Bible though. You see me? And go on. So I want to read the Bible, you see things right, you want to hear things positive, you see me?
All right, sir. Give thanks.
Yeah. So I say, I record the ones, my name is Iceman, an artist thing, me not to. So I make you know, say, go and big me. Because soon you about me, a rhyme buster, then call me, you see me?
That means there's something I go on for you see me?
No, I make something go on for myself.
But me think say you talk, but think say you say Christ I go help you. But me think it is
we are eat and drink.
All right, you know listen to me, I say. All right, give thanks.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, so continue the journey. Yeah, talk now, man.
All on hope.
Yes, sir.
All on hope.
Man, believe you me, we need some peace. Maybe we should need whole light. we need to take the whole light still, you know them way there. So, you know, say, I can see who they're on the line now. Yeah, Yell.
I hope.
Boss, talk where you talk now when I tap your damn foolishness, man.
You sold the bird.
Yes, okay. We're a joke business I'm a deal with. Alright, so. Alright. We are talking about. Well, 12 o'clock gone, so I guess the day seal up. We know that them have a concert a go on, Woman Bishan and Red Bones, with all female artists them performing. If you're in the area, it would be nice if you really make a journey there for really taking what the sister them have to offer as artists, female energy. Woman Bishan, Red Bones, right now it a go on. As we say, Nelly Star talking about Mother Nature, saying good morning to Mother Nature. Well, if we can stand up and say Mother Nature when we get up in the morning, that make you get even more aggressive, even though you might not know it. But part of the aggression is because sometimes you wake up and see pure concrete and steel in front of you. And if you make up and see pure concrete and steel in front of you more time, it's not good for the soul. Definitely not good for the soul. It's really a problem that because we were taught that you have to dead to go to heaven, and then you'll find a better life in heaven. And we buy that. We buy that reasoning for years, thousands of years. We buy that reasoning. Blessed man.
Rastafari, I tell you, selection, sweet boy.
Give thanks, man.
Where you find them tuning in your vault, man?
Yeah, them they are with me all the while, man. Just
boy, I have to run them more often. I don't know if you change, can turn on the radio. The selection before that one, who did that one there? Because I have to make notes, you know.
Remember which one I played before that?
Yeah, I would have loved to know that one there. I think of something about frequently. You're not too long.
Artens Ellis.
Eh?
Alternate sister, yeah, Artens Ellis, secretly, yeah.
We need to make a note of that, Artens Ellis.
Yeah, man. Secretly, yeah, man. Secretly,
yeah, man, that one that's sweet, believe me, sweet to the ears, man, I tell you.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, man, for real. But I ask you though, Muta, because I think a lot for the last week before. What suggestion you would have give for the culture, more culture, you know, be taught in the schools? Because I think the culture shift will create some other problem. I know I hear you mention it, but last week or week before.
Well, you know, so you have to go to the teacher them. You know, so something that feedback from me.
I get a feed forward.
I hear my voice every time I talk to you.
Hold on. You know, so a Lime network, everybody me talk on the phone and tell me that. You hear me a little better now?
Yeah, better.
Yeah, man, the network, man, everybody I call off on the phone and them give me the same feedback.
Yeah, but I say, you know, sometimes we really need something in the school, them, but really you need a teacher them who know what them are teaching. And only for them teacher, some little sisters will just come out of school and not really, them get the same, them regurgitate the same thing to them teacher. And the youth, them go back to school with the same thing. You need some teachers who into the thing. You know, we show the picture them a different perspective. Yeah.
And the reason why I'm asking you that, you know, because it's like, you said that like a week after, because JCDC, they have a festival thing, and them keep a leg up a shot to Teachers College. Speaker them, you know, was suggesting that the educators put something to do with culture and music and the TSAT curriculum. Right. And I think it's like a week after my area company. Really.
Yeah, the teacher them need to really get in line, man, because that new thing we're living in, you know.
Yeah, man.
I'm sure you have teacher. A daughter just called me a while ago and say, them a teacher daughter, a youth, 2.5-year-old, 2.5-year-old, and them a teach them about Jesus. And the little penny come home and say, Mommy, me hear them talk about Jesus, the Son, and Jesus and the Father. So we want to the mother. And she said that 2.5-year-old youth to ask a question, they want to the mother in the thing.
Them youth, you know, man, them youth, them come on earth before them even come through them mother womb.
Yeah.
And go back to, you know, because some question and some level of reason when you hear them fun. If you would never believe, say, at for them age, them have them. And thinking that.
Me tell Ian Bowen one time, you know, say the question them when me hear me ask, you know, as some little picnic question where up to now it no answer.
That's true, man.
Some little picnic question them I say, what kind of question them I want to say, oh you mean at the picnic, at some little picnic question me ask you and big people still not answer them.
Muta, me hear my daughter have some reason, man. I know she should come on earth already and come forward. Serious, man, at age 6.
I wonder who was our father before.
No, boy, understand the level where we are reading upon, right?
No, me never push that. Yeah. Them ask questions and them need answers, you know.
True, man.
You can't tell them the same like a fool thing where we grow up, go your people, your grandmother say, and your teacher say, that different thinking, different.
No, cow jump over mountain and them thing that
yeah, man.
Pass the stage there.
Yeah.
But in your selection before you move, any one of them the finger can touch first. I want to hear either you and the one with the Andela
or you can drop anything. You can drop Dreamland from Auntie Marcia for me.
Yeah, alright. Della, I'm going to play and sing it by herself.
Yeah, one of them week I don't know, I need to drop the Ivan Van Sertima.
Alright. We came before Columbus.
Please, yes,
you know how much years me I play that like something there?
No, I want to tell you, say, not even me I request it, you know, so my uncle I request it, and right. So that you must know who.
Alright, sir.
Man, can you see something on the television or the animal say, you know, when you shout Muta again, tell him say me I beg a request.
Alright, we're going to think about it, yeah man.
On the search, mother. Bless up yourself, Muta. Give thanks.
Niwe baba silale mawe niwe baba silale mawe niwe baba silale mawe niwe baba silale mawe homeless moonlight sleeping on the midnight lake homeless
Yes, Muta.
Blessed.
Let me there a long time, not no pay not much credit still. But me I said to that woman there still, God himself have a woman.
You ask me that?
Yeah, man.
If God have a woman?
Simple.
But I don't know, virgin. I don't know. You have to go pray to God and ask him that. It's easier to talk to him than talk to me about his wife. You cut off? That's the problem now. Man ask me if God have a woman. God is configured in man's mind. It's a configuration in a man's mind. I don't know if God can have a wife. All I say, if you talk about a God and say he, then you should have a God and say she. That is what I say. I don't know if it's his wife or what. I know say if you have an entity out there where you call he as God, you should have an entity that you call God, which is she. Whether them is wife or not, I don't know about that. I don't know. If you want to put that in your brains, put that in your brains.
Somebody sing. Somebody sing. Hello, hello, hello. Somebody sing. Somebody cry. Why? Somebody sing. Somebody sing. Hello, hello, hello. Somebody sing.
Want to tell the queens out of South Africa? Yes, here.
Oh, one perfect divine love, Mutabaruka.
Blessed Abba Zero. How you doing, man?
Yes, my beloved.
Long time I don't hear from you, man.
Well, I know, you know how it is. The business keeps the flow.
Yes, yes.
So we're here in Santa Rosa, California, and we find it most appropriate to call you and keep you updated with the release of the Nyabingi album. And we have Russ Ivi here with us, and we would love for you to have a little dialogue with him just around the album.
But you know, say, as a you know, say it's a woman energy we are working with in the night, it's Woman's Day.
Oh, you're working with the Divine Mother.
Yeah, you know, so all of the song them is women, and all of the talk.
In the spirit of the Divine Mother, then it is most appropriate that we say through the powers of Mother Divine, we know it transcends the limited space of what we say male or female, so we know it's a principle.
Yeah,
and so in the power of Mother Divine principle, we hope that all women, wherever they are on the planet Earth, will experience the honor and the reverence from all man in whatever forms it take on.
We're gonna get I the chance to talk, because
there's a very special song on the album, so here you go, for Mother Divine.
Yes.
Rastaman Mutabaruka.
Blessed man, you're the far man.
Well, you know exactly what me did to, right?
Yeah, me know exactly what you're there, man. Of course, me know you're there. Me know you're there, man.
We there listen to the program, and you know it goes as a woman there and thing. But we there for a mission, I think I'm sure they are already.
Yeah, about the album.
Final edits of our history, and you know, we are looking forward to it because very educational. As you know, Muta, for years we've been singing songs where no pertain to our own.
Yeah, we twist them, we turn them round. We turn them round for and make it become ours. Yeah.
Yes, some round say we rastasize them.
Yeah.
I think a movement we have grown too far now. I mean, we've gone far in our uprising.
Yeah.
Now, and
We need to write our own songs, man.
Right for one thing, man. We can't be an independent movement and still delve on
sing sanky.
They're written for other gods, you know?
Yes.
So that really inspired me over the years to really start, make the change. You know, you can't criticize something till you can make the change. You criticize it, but the best thing to do is to make the change because you want to see it happen. So the album promised to be great. I mean, it started out with slavery days, reminding one, say, yes, we can't forget this history, as Garvey said. And then we go into a chronological order where, after that, now we touch the Battle of Adowa 1896. And as we talk about Women's Day, you know, the Empress Title feature big time in Adowa, because
of course.
She was the no-nonsense queen.
Yeah, when Menelik Gango pray, she take 20,000 troops and run out the Italian then.
Of course.
Yeah, man.
And even at the conference table when these Italians are going like them have Menelik soft because them they don't have Menelik sign a treaty and them feel like Italy must become the protectorate. Empress Titus only need to interpret this good. And a matter of fact, she just take the treaty after them interpret it and find say the Italian wrong because when Menelik sign say Italy might become a protectorate. She just ripped the treaty to pieces and say, you Italians believe in the guns and bombs, but we Ethiopians believe in the God of Ethiopia. So bring your army, come, because the Ark of the Covenant will be by our side on the battlefield. So she just said, you know what, come see it.
Yeah, man, she take her troops, man.
Yes, man.
Yeah.
And defeat the guy them. So we salute Empress Title and all the freedom fighters in our battle of Adowa. Because it's a cover, the album really a cover historic landmark events within our history. You know, last year was the 120th anniversary. And then after that we go from 1916, we go 1930, where we highlight the coronation, we really brought Europe on them knees before a black family, you know, being crowned in Ethiopia. And we left 1930, and after 1930, we come up to 63 and highlight the Coral Garden massacre. Cause, you know, outside
I think I didn't play that one there. I think I didn't play that one there.
No, you know, play another one there.
Which one you play?
You play 1966 after
okay, yeah, the visit, yeah.
So in other order, there after 63, 66 comes His Imperial Majesty. After them done come with the atrocities, the king come and it embarrass them and you know them want to tell the king to deny we and him say who am I? So we highlight the whole of that in that track. I don't know if you still have it.
Yeah, me have it, man.
Archive.
Me have it, I mean, man, me have everything in my archive, man.
You have everything, so you have the visit in your archive.
Yeah, but me not going to play tonight because a pure female artist will play.
Yeah, man. So after 66 now, then it would have been 1974. Remember 1974. And we highlight these things because important dates in the history. 74 now was when the Marxist Mengistu regime fly in the face of the emperor and the imperial family, and the government kill off 59 ministers without due process of any court case now. Not like that. So we highlight that. We highlight how 17 years of blood terror bring weeping in Ethiopia. We gotta go see Ethiopians that cry for Emperor Haile Selassie I. So we highlight that in one of the other chant titled The Cry of Ethiopia. Then we have a chant where we uplift the black man, say black man, black woman, know yourself because you don't know. And we get the world civilization. When other nations live in a cave like Bat, as Garvey say, we build cities upon the Nile. So we highlight that for the upliftment and knowledge of the youth them same way.
Yeah.
And then we have something where another track where I talk about the patriarchs and the matriarchs. Just give honor to those who come and lay a foundation and all the trials, the tribulation, and go through. We have a next serious chant, which very revolutionary. It has to stand up and fight for your rights in this year time, you know. And because the freedom now go come if we don't sit down and go like with them.
So when them are gonna release the album? When it gonna release?
Them I look forward to the early part of the year, you know.
The early part of the year I don't like this month, you know.
Well,
the early part of the year this month.
The first half.
Okay, all right. Because March is the early part of the year, you know. After March is the late part of the year gone.
Because 2 months already gone through.
Yeah, this is the third month. Yes.
Yeah, man, but we want to give thanks to Jaliva and Abazira because it's out of, you know, seeing the need for this thing happen. And you know, Abazira has been around long time. Jaliva is a whole bridge.
You saw the man house full of studio, man. Everywhere you turn in that studio. You can't fight tuna in the bathroom.
Listen to me there after if you want to play music and then you go bathroom and get
yeah, man, you can't fight the tuna man in the bathroom to rant it. Everywhere you turn it. So, beautiful man, beautiful.
It's really a music sanctuary.
Yeah, definitely.
In terms of all the work, you see Glenn Brown and Rasta in terms of the family. Glenn Brown is a bridging way. When the production, because when it's out, we are going to sit down and talk about it. Because Glenn Brown, too, is another master in it because the man journey come a yard and so Rasta. If the album I go out tonight, it have to be the best, you know, with a Glenn Brown in
Of course. I'm a bridging, personal bridging to man.
Jaliva is another master musician. So
yeah. All right.
So you know it go Rasta.
Yeah, man.
Glenn Brown make sure come a yard and say Rasta. This chant I go 90 beats per minute. Chant the next one make a ear. Alright, you see that one here? It's in a G minor. And these things we never even know.
No man, a great musician, man. Great musician.
So, I want to give thanks to Glenn Brown. I mean, the work, the final yet that one can put it to the test and say, yes, Rasta, this is a classic.
Well, we play a one-track fight. Last year, we did play a one-track fight. So, you know, we are waiting for it. Anyway, we have to go move, though.
All right, enough love and blessing. And as Abba say, you need to see the sanctuary and know it improve.
Yeah, well, we're going to come back up there next time, man. What do you mean?
All right.
Blessed.
So I'm blessing this song to the Cutting Edge family, Iris.
I'm trying to do like a 2-foot skank and it is not dropping. I never felt so white in my life. Amongst the Samburu tribes of northern Kenya, where the desert merges with the foothills of Mount Kenya, women have been living under a harsh patriarchal system for as long as they can remember. Female genital mutilation has been one of the most important rituals amongst the Samburu for generations. Once circumcised, a girl can be given away in an arranged marriage to start her own family. This practice has seen girls as young as 12 get married to men old enough to be their grandfathers. But this year, Obama's visit to Kenya put women's rights at the forefront of national dialogue.
Around the world, there is a tradition of repressing women, treating women and girls as second-class citizens. Those are bad traditions. They need to change. There's no reason that young girls should suffer genital mutilation. There's no place in civilized society for the early or forced marriage of children. These traditions may date back centuries. They have no place in the 21st century.
While the world has just taken note, 25 years ago, a group of fed-up women led an exodus and took matters into their own hands to free themselves and started a movement in the Samburu region, creating the first village where no men were allowed. The establishment of Umoja was an inspiration to many women in neighbouring villages who have risen up to take control of their local governments. So we travelled to Kenya to road trip through the Samburu district and see what life is like in a matriarchal society. out on our way to the Emoja village, which is an all-female village which started in 1990 by a woman called Rebecca. Rebecca Lola Soli is the matriarch of the Emoja Women's Village and an advocate for women's rights. Growing up as a member of the Samburu tribe, she married at the age of 18 and began speaking up about helping women who were victims of rape by British soldiers training near her home. Local men, angered by her vocalism, beat her until she was hospitalised. When her husband did not protest the beatings, she left him, and along with several other women who were survivors of violence, established the Women's Village of Emoja. What was once solely a safe haven for women has now become a globally known example of a successful matriarchy. The internet has put Emoja firmly on the map. And now people travel far and wide to come and see how the land of no men thrives in the region of Samburu. I think that was our welcome, and what a welcome! Just get a cup of tea at my house, that's it. So far it's super nice, everything seems really idyllic. Did you see the welcome though? Oh my gosh. Every single one can sing as well. Every single one of them ladies can sing. So we're about to have a sit-down chat with Rebecca, and hopefully she's gonna explain to me how Emoja came to be, the pros and cons of living in an all-female society, and just shed some light what life is like here in Emoja village. Hi, Rebecca.
That's how the house look like.
Ah, nice.
This is now the big bedroom. That's the small bedroom. It's the kitchen. And this is our sitting room.
Amazing. It smells so good. And to the women do all the renovations and
yes.
build all the houses.
Build all the houses. Let me just tell you how we started. As a Samburu woman, you have no right. If the husband wants to kill you, he have a right to kill you anytime. Because you are like a property. And in the Samburu culture, have you ever heard of a woman village? So they say we have to destroy this village. We say we are not going to move. Let them kill us and make a story of killing all of the women in this village. We decided to do small business, selling our jewelry on the road. When tourists are passing, we welcome them and they buy our things when we are here. When we started selling, we found the men beat the women and they take away the money.
Do you think the men felt threatened by
they do.
Women being able to make their own money?
They do.
With the ability to generate income, the women of Emoja have found independence.
So every morning we have to come and display our things. This is what we depend on. Yeah. This is our living.
Which one did you make? Really? It's nice. This is amazing. I read that you met Hillary Clinton.
Yes, I met her.
What was it like?
She's a good friend of mine.
Oh, is she?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Because
Samburu women, we are following her footsteps to be more strong as women. We have said, what can we do with this money? So we decided to start a school.
I've never had such a spring in my step about going to school, Rebecca.
Sasa, cậu go to bed ako?
Hey.
Ayoko na wangapi? It's not only from Umoja, it's for all over, even from the villages, the men's villages. We decided to build the school because we have seen education is very important.
Yeah.
And we don't want our children to be like us. We want them to have light in their life, to have good education, and to know what's going on in this world.
Women in Emoja are still having children, and sons are welcome as long as they are willing to follow the village rules and do not try to dominate the women. Although no grown men are allowed to live in Emoja, the women are still open to relationships and often rendezvous with boyfriends outside the village. You were saying in the beginning that you was having to deal with a lot of sort of problems from the men in the surrounding villages, just kind of being jealous little bitches, basically, about your success.
We still have that problem, but it's not as big as before. They say I'm bringing bad culture to them, but I know one day, one time, they will not cut these girls again.
Angry husbands occasionally come to Umoja searching for their wives. The women of the village stay up all night in shifts to protect each other. The veteran women live side by side with the younger refugees who have recently fled to Umoja to escape the cultural rituals still prevalent in their communities. And how do you feel about what Rebecca teaches at Umoja? Would you want to find a husband one day and have kids? Me neither. So whilst you might think that Umoja's demographic would mainly be older women, it is also home to many young women who have sworn off men completely. So it doesn't seem like there's an awful lot to do to pass the time in Umoja village, but the huts that the ladies make need constant maintenance. So I'm about to go and literally get my hands dirty in cow shit. Some chicks doing DIY. Can I? Yeah. And I'm like, that's my work, just that. It's like clay, basically, but warm. Imagine what hot cow shit feels like. We come, we seen, we bought beads, and we're out. Thanks, ladies. Yeah. What a wicked way to say, get out my house, love, we've had enough. I'm filled with joy and love and a little bit of cow dung. Umoja has now become an accepted part of the Samburu landscape, but not everyone is happy about it. By providing a safe haven for local women, it has also become a threat to some local men. So, on my second day in the district, I went to meet a man nearby whose wife had rejected him to live in the village. So you think that if Umoja didn't exist, your wife would still be with you?
자기 밑에 좀 바피 내가 바로 거서나 바게 그래도 죽니 내가 yang 우리네 알아보나 본 자리나 저기 좀 나가자 아바이는 또 못노 난 뒤에 바로 그러는 거 나가 그러니 난도 좋아지 마요 말누구 난 다가 임자야 먹으리.
Oh, well, that's good to hear for you. All is not lost. You can get another wife. Are you angry that your wife left you?
Saya bapi na kapa. Macam mana tangkarake? Yunai yang nonguru. Amunguru na iti yang apa? Na nyaman anguru ngakani meti lawa. Nana ko jadi ngoji na anguru na iti na yang.
Well, I guess haters are gonna hate no matter what. Yesterday we went to go and visit Umoja, an all-female village where no men are allowed. Since Umoja, similar villages have appeared. Men are allowed in these villages, but women still have the overriding say. What I'm hoping is that it's also a safe haven for the submissive men of Kenya. Just to be clear, we've got Rebecca's blessing because these villages are kind of the trickle down from Umoja, and so we can't do any of this without her say-so. As the leader of Umoja, Rebecca dictates who is allowed in and out of the wider community. Thank you. I think this was the ceremony. We just drank some goat milk. It's delicious. Recommend it. And we're going to go and see what's going on. So a big part of how these villages survive is on tourism, which means when you come, you better buy some beads. Such a shame. So many beads, so many beads. As you can see, another tourist truck has come and we've been upstaged by some Germans. Fair enough, they're buying beads. We're going to speak with the chair lady of Nachami. Oh, I'm good, thank you. There's probably enough goat's milk for a lifetime. Yeah? Okay. Got my bead stem, got my goat's milk, got my mat. At Umoja, there's no men at all. You have men here. Can you tell me what role the men have if you're the chair lady?
So
the husbands are here, but who has the overriding say? Men who are allowed to live among the women here must reject the traditional Samburu principles and agree to a new way of thinking. It was time to speak to an enlightened man who chose to live in Nashami. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. I'm Michelle.
I'm Ebo.
Ebo, nice to meet you, Ebo.
Yeah.
And do you live here?
Yeah, I live here.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Have you got a wife?
Yeah. I'll only marry one wife. Mainly because if you marry 4 wives, you'll have 4 problems. Yeah. I don't want me to be more greater than her, you know?
Yeah.
We want just to do the same. In the work, we'll work the same.
It's quite a modern way of thinking, right?
Yeah.
Quite a modern man, Ibo. It's true.
Yeah.
So we need trailblazers like you, guys like you out there, letting other guys know, like, hey, this makes sense, man.
Yeah.
What Nashami showed me is that the message of equality is spreading to younger generations.
You know the meaning of Nashami?
No, tell me.
Love. Yeah, so we love each other.
Well, there you have it. Proof that men and women can be equal. Unfortunately, it's all the way in bloody Africa, though. See you later. Mwah, mwah, mwah. That was really fun, and I'm just now feeling the effects of drinking hot goat's milk in the hot sun and being in a truck with no suspension. I feel like I'm just gonna shit out a log of cheese later. With the network of matriarchal villages growing, many men in the Samburu tribes are discovering female empowerment for the first time, which scares most of them. Right outside Nashami, I stopped to talk to 2 local men about their views on the changing culture. In Samburu custom, the tribes are run by a collective of male elders who rule with complete authority. First, I wanted to speak with a man from a traditional Samburu society to understand the nature of change in the region. What are your views on men who live in villages where women have the overriding say?
Hiyo si mzuri. Hata hiyo watu hiyo wanawake naishi hapo hiyo na nini yani ile mishindwa bwana yake ndio anaosa kutoroka kwenda pande hiyo. Maneno kama hiyo kukataa au bwana anawacha kwa ajili kisha ngumu.
Do you think that you can keep tradition and have some equality?
Madam, kwa ajili sasa kutoka zamani wakati zinasaliwa sisi wanaume tu ndio wanaongoza. Sasa mimi hawezi kubali mwanamke yangu murishe mimi.
What do you think about women in Umoja and surrounding villages making their own money?
Ile naweza kuwa anapata shida na hakuna mtu anasaidia. Kwa ajili naweza kupigwa na mtu mwingine au nini na anapata shida na wanaume tu ndio ndio kufua ya bomba.
Do you think a society can only work if there's men there?
Wanaume ndio wanaokoa, wanawake hakuna siku ya kuokoa. Wapita.
We're about to meet a man who's part of a matriarchal society. We've had to meet him here in the middle of nowhere because he doesn't want the women to find out. But apparently he says the truth must be told. So we're going to get to find out how he thinks that this has affected tradition. Can you tell me what life is like living in an all-female village?
Lazima kila kitu uwe sawa.
Every village I've been to and all the women I've spoken to, all of them across the board agree that they would like female circumcision to stop.
Samburu inaenda kweli hawezi isha. Sitaki kudanganya kwa sababu inaenda na kwa sababu sema mambo kusemekana wasichana hapa natayarishwa. Kuna wakati tuseme sasa mimi bibi yangu ametayarishwa. Siwezi kusema uongo. Hata madada zangu kwa sababu hii anasoma. Nisikuwa najua sasa siwezi kubali tayarishwe. Siwezi kubali kwa sababu mimi naelewa kwa nini. Nisikuwa wale sasa wanaishi mpali ya matown, hao wataendelea. Nisikuwa sasa wale wanaishi, nisikuwa ni kila kitu ni pole pole. Nisikuwa naona kama itakuja kuisha tu. Kwa sababu sioni faida.
Although female genital mutilation is banned in the country, over 80% of Samburu brides still undergo the procedure. As villages such as Emoja start to outlaw this practice, hope of eradicating female circumcision spreads throughout northern Kenya. On our third day, we hope to get more insight on the matter. This is Sulpa village, which seems to be part of the matriarchal wave that has sprung from Emoja. It's a pretty nice way to be greeted. Okay, thanks. What is it?
We are very happy to see you, and you are most welcome to our village.
Marianne, the chair lady here, has created a matriarchal village similar to Nashami, except here the gender roles are differentiated. The men carry out the physical labor while the women make the rules.
I started from Umoja,
right,
and then I stayed in Umoja for almost 4 years, and then I shifted to this place. Long days, we don't have rights. So if the men say you have to do this, we have to follow them. But nowadays, the women, they have their own right because they can make their things and they have their own money.
Yeah.
And they can say you don't want women to get circumcised, and they can say that our daughters must go to schools.
How do the men feel who live here that they're not in the traditional role for a man?
Actually, they feel bad. They feel bad when we have that, our right. They think that we are losing their traditional.
What is it that you think that bothers men the most? Do you think it's that they're losing their tradition as in that you guys have freedom of speech? Or do you think it's the tradition of female circumcision? Or do you think it's the fact that you guys have your own money?
Circumcisions.
From what I know, that it's hard to get married if you're not circumcised as a woman. But I suppose you don't need to get married if you have your own money.
Yeah, most of the ladies nowadays, they don't like to get married. They go to school and they work and they get money and they are not circumcised. If you are not circumcised and you are Samburu, nobody can marry you. So nowadays they don't bother about marriage.
Do you think that in the future men will want an educated woman who makes her own money?
I don't think so.
Are you aware that the world is fascinated with the story of Emoja and the surrounding villages?
No.
What you guys are doing here is something that most of us haven't seen before. And I think you're doing a great job of it, and you guys are doing it with style and grace and beautiful beads. If you was a young woman today, you're 18 years old, would you get married?
No.
No?
No, definitely no.
Every woman I've asked, I'm like, would you get married? They're like, nah. Really?
Yeah, we don't give men power because if we give them that chance, they will spoil.
Right.
Yeah.
Men always fuck it up, don't they? So Marianne was just explaining to me that in this village, a lot of the men do just the manpower things, basically, like going to get water and letting the goats out in the morning and fixing a fence and stuff.
How do you enjoy this place?
I loved it. I had such a nice time. I've never seen anything like this before, you know, like where women run things. We're here at our final matriarchal village called Nagida. I'm hoping that this time I get some suspect liquid flicked on my face instead of having to drink goat's milk again. I see the goat's milk, man. I mean, I like it's, but... Everyone. Can I just say that was my kind of welcome? Short, sweet, bit of goat's milk on the forehead, bang that out nice and quick, we're done. I couldn't leave Samburu without asking these ladies one last burning question. I wanted to ask, because I've been travelling to all these different villages, I have the worst periods and they last for like 8 days. Is there like 1 week where everyone's like, it's coming, my period's coming?
Sometimes kuna tu wenye wasichana wanaonanga the same day.
What do you do out here when you have your period? Do you use sanitary towels and then where would you, like, how do you dispose of them?
Tunatumia nini? Kuna semina tulionyesha unagunja nini nguo hivi, alafu unaweka kitambaa hivi, kanguo alafu unachona. Design na hiyo nini? Hiyo pads, alafu tunafaa.
Thank you so much for telling me because I've been wondering the whole time I'm here. I'm like, what would I do out here if I came on my period? Rebecca's influence on women in the Samburu region has created a trickle-down effect of woman power. Fueled by the matriarchal uprising, long-standing traditions that threaten the women of Kenya are being challenged. With access to education and their own income, many Samburu women are taking the future into their own hands for the first time in history.
When they call us women, it's like a dirty name. We walk and we talk and we laugh. Let us show them that we are happy. And we have to be proud we are women.